Greetings world, it is I, Andrew, the bearded lady from the Hairy Game Lords, and for Zatu Games I am going to review for you this Robin Hood and the Merry Men from Final Frontier Games. Well, it's a heavy box and it certainly feels like a heavyweight game. When opening up the rulebook, it feels pretty weighty and there is a heck of a lot in here. But it's very well written and actually very, very helpful. The thing with this game is it just takes time. It takes time to read the rules. But then it takes time to go onto that massive player board and make sense of those rules and be able to then teach those rules to the rest of your player group. I think one of the best ways to play this game is to take it slowly. All together go through and play around an open hand round so everyone can see the cards and everyone can get to grips with what's happening. The components in the deluxe version, the version that I have, are just wonderful. Really, really nice components. I like the screen printing on the meeples. Obviously, the artist is the Miko, and I really like the way that his work is on the cover of the box, and obviously in the cards, in the rule book, but also on the board, and then all of the little fixtures and fittings as well that cover your individual playing boards, the other bits and pieces that happen, all feature that artwork and carry that theme through really, really well. It's a strong thematic game of Robin Hood and his merry men. Now, what I like about this game is it's semi-co-op, and yes, you certainly need to work together to be able to win this game, because in a good co-op game, it needs to be hard. It needs to be difficult to win, and this is certainly the case. It takes a while for you all to build up enough resources to be able to then build barricades and traps, and it costs more of those resources in different locations where you're building those traps and barricades. You can't just build up all of the barricades and all of the traps in an area that's cheap, because each and every round there will be an opportunity for guards to go into certain areas, and of course when guards block up all four of the hideouts, unless there's an opportunity for you to take away in an event or something like that, for you to be able to take away one of those guards, it's impossible to place a trap into that blocked up location. And so as the game progresses, it gets harder and harder to be able to beat the board. What I also like is there's that element in there of, yes, you're all having to work together, but also you're wanting to build up your own score so that you can win. Trapping the guards is a really useful way of bringing in points for yourself. The attacking of the wagons going into the castle, a great way to again build up resources and build up points for yourself. And then there's this really nice little element, this little mechanic in there where you get to place down one of the wagons that you've defeated, and you get to place it on the board. If you place it in an area on the board that isn't that helpful for everybody else, you get a really nice reward. If you place it in an area of the board that's really helpful for everybody else in the game, your reward for yourself personally isn't that great. So you have that decision. Am I going to go for myself here, or am I going to go for the good of myself and everybody else? Because remember, if the board wins, everybody loses. It'd be interesting to see if you get those people who just love that kind of betrayal mechanism and think, right, well, I'm not going to win this, so maybe no one can win this. And if they work against everybody else and therefore jeopardize the play, it'd be interesting to see in other games if that ever happens, or if just that desire to win drives everybody through to continue to work together for the good of everybody and the victory for themselves. So there are loads and loads of components, as you can see in this game, but also in here are some additional modules and game variants for extra replayability and differing game lengths. What more could you want? Proper good. The inlay works well in the box and everything fits in nicely together. Thanks, Aussie Phil, for packaging that up for me. Who's this game for? Well, this is not a gateway game. It looks to be very complex and extremely daunting the first time, and maybe even the second time you come to play this. But when you get through that daunting rulebook and that massive board with loads of stuff happening on it, once you break through that, you find an extremely sweet game to play. This one we all really enjoyed, and as we were playing it, we were talking about how these are the different things we're going to do in the next game we play, and oh, that time we played that, well, we're going to try this in this turn, and it was really, really good in terms of driving that kind of story element, but also that excitement of, well, I've made a mistake here, but next time I'm going to try this, or I'm going to try that. Some really nice stuff. I like the way that every character has their own unique ability, and I also like the way that here in this deluxe game you have two meeples to choose from, a guy or a girl. Really like the fact that they've added in that variety into those screen printed wooden meeples. Very nice. Oh yeah, don't forget you also have some dice rolling in this game as well. So you have weapons that that are dice, and they will need to be rolled to fight different characters and to obviously win certain points. Maybe even rescue some merry men that were in prison. And again, there's this element of helping other people. If you rescue merry men that are imprisoned, you get victory points if those merry men aren't yours. So I like the way that the game itself is, it generates that kind of co-op play where you help one another, but in helping other people, you're getting victory points for yourself. And then there are other aspects, like with the wagons, where if you help other people, it might lessen what you have. But then there's the temptation to maybe be a little bit more cunning, a little bit more backstabby to the rest of the group to do better for yourself. Always that temptation there. There could be this thing of each and every go, you could be like, well, I'm not going to build this for the good of everybody. I'm going to go off and do this and get more money, then I can get more points, etc. So there's always that balance in play of where you're going to place your meeples and how you're going to play. Are you going to be good for you and that end score, or is it going to be best to play well for everybody in the game so that you can guarantee that end score? A really fun game, and I would say to anybody who picks this up, stick with it, endure through that rulebook, endure through the initial setup and getting used to the gameplay, because this is an absolute gem of a game and one that definitely needs to feature in your collection.